The finance industry has just got a new benchmark today in paid parental leave. Insurer IAG announced a 20-week fully paid package made up of 14 weeks and then a welcome back payment, double pay for the first 6 weeks return to work. 500 to 600 of the 10,000-strong workforce at IAG are expected to take up the offer each year. And the company expects it all to be cost neutral, as the programme should attract and retain people for longer. Well, I spoke with IAG's Chief Executive, Mike Wilkins, earlier. Mike Wilkins, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
Now, you've taken a bit of a lead in this space. What do you expect to gain from the announcement on this maternity leave?
Well, what we're announcing today, we think, is the most generous and the most accessible parental leave that's available in Australian financial services. It comes about as a result of us talking to our people and talking about some of the pressures that they were facing, particularly those returning from having children. And what we've done is acted on that, because for IAG it's all about attracting and retaining the best quality people that we can.
The double pay to come back is quite an interesting feature. Is that because you're trying to encourage women to come back, as soon as possible?
Well, not necessarily as soon as possible. Our parental leave arrangements do offer 14 weeks of fully paid parental leave on top of the government's 18 weeks, but you can take that as 28 weeks at half pay. What it is about is actually, yes, encouraging people to come back into the workforce and to stay, but also helping people to deal with a number of the cost pressures that they told us they were facing as they came back into the workforce. Things such as having to arrange for childcare, just looking at wardrobes and similar things.
We've got the opposition's 26-week scheme, a $3.3 billion to be funded by a 1.5% increase in company tax, presumably from firms like IAG. How do you feel about this?
Well, what we're looking to do is actually to make sure that we do take care of our people here. We will deal with that issue if and when it arises. We clearly have a view on all of that. We think that at 20 weeks we are offering the most generous program that is available in Australia today.
All right, but let me move to risk. Insurable losses for last year in Australia over $4.3 billion, and the costs of the Christchurch tragedy alone, $10 billion. You're the largest insurer in New Zealand. To what extent is this changing your insurance model?
Well, I don't think it's changing our model. Certainly the 2011 calendar year was the worst year I can remember for natural disasters. But that's the business that we're in, and fortunately we're well capitalised and our reinsurance programs are strong to enable us to deal with all of that.
Have you done any work on the average householder and what it might cost a family now in rising premiums, across so many different parts of the insurance business? Because we hear about rising electricity bills, but I suspect insurance is going to be a big part of an increase in a family budget.
Certainly we're seeing an increase, particularly in our household policies. Across our portfolio, the average increase is somewhere between 10 and 12%. That's reflective of the number of claims that we've seen come in, plus the increase in our reinsurance cost, which for us has increased about 40% year on year.
Now, do you think that's going to go up this year and stay up? What's your internal research telling you about climate change, natural disasters of the future?
We think that 2011 was an unusual year, and we're not passing on all of the costs to our customers as a result of that. However, we do think that something has changed, and certainly so far as things like reinsurance are concerned, there has been a stepped increase in the cost of reinsurance, and we don't see that that will decline.
In February you were very upbeat at your half year about full year results. Are you still on track? Your guidance still there?
We haven't seen any need to go back and update the market beyond what we said in February, so we still stand by the fact that our gross written premiums will be up between 8 and 10% across the group, and that we still expect to deliver an insurance margin at the bottom end of a 10 to 12% range.
One big deal that you've just completed, of course, is your Malaysian acquisition. That is a very significant acquisition in terms of your Asia strategy, isn't it?
It certainly does take us to a leading position in Malaysia through our joint venture, and we own 49% of AMG Insurance in Malaysia.
Why do you like that market?
We think it's a very stable market. It's well regulated, and the government settings in Malaysia are very satisfactory. We think it's a market that will grow faster than a number of other Western markets in an economy and a culture that we understand well.
So you're still on track for your target for sales contribution from Asia, haven't you?
Yes, we've said that we want 10% of our gross written premium to come from Asia by the year 2016. We already have established operations in Thailand and Malaysia. We also have fledgling operations in India. As well as last week we also announced that we completed our transaction in China. So across those 4 countries we have a good platform to go towards that 10% target.
Thanks, Mike Wilkins, very much for talking to us.
Thank you.